glimmering heart of Las Vegas, where ambition fuels every move, a darker reality is unfolding. Beneath the bright lights and booming casinos lies a growing crisis that's impossible to ignore. Homelessness is reaching staggering levels in Sin City. What's causing this surge, and who bears the burden? Stay with us as we uncover the hidden truths behind the headlines. Welcome to Globe Path, where we journey into the untold stories shaping our world. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a city that dazzles millions every year, Las Vegas. Known for its glitz and glamour, this iconic destination hides a growing homeless crisis beneath its shimmering lights. We'll uncover the uncomfortable truths about addiction, inequality, and policy failures driving this hidden epidemic. Stick with us, because what you're about to see may change the way you view Sin City forever. Las Vegas, the city of dazzling lights, luxury, and endless entertainment, has long been synonymous with dreams of fortune. Yet, in 2025, beneath the glitzy facade of the Strip, a heartbreaking reality has emerged. Homelessness in the city has soared to an all-time high, with over 7,906 individuals now living on the streets, many hidden from view in makeshift shelters, alleyways, or the flood tunnels beneath the bustling cityscape. These tunnels, originally built to shield the city from flash floods, now serve as a desperate refuge for those abandoned by a system that caters to wealth and opulence. Despite the $60 billion generated by tourism each year, Las Vegas remains a stark symbol of inequality, where the contrast between luxury penthouses and overcrowded homeless camps couldn't be more glaring. Families, veterans, and individuals battling addiction and mental health issues are left to navigate this grim reality, forgotten by a city that thrives on indulgence. This hidden epidemic isn't just a story of poverty. It's a mirror reflecting the cracks in society's foundation. In 2025, the housing market in Las Vegas paints a troubling picture of growing inequality. The city, often synonymous with luxury and high-stakes living, has seen a dramatic shift in its rental landscape. Over the past year, rental prices have surged by an astonishing 18%, pushing the average rent to $1,800 per month. For low-income families already battling to make ends meet, this increase has proven catastrophic. While developers are busy constructing high-rise luxury condos and high-end apartments for the wealthy and tourist investors, affordable housing projects are almost non-existent. In fact, for every 100 low-income households in need of housing, there are only 3 affordable units available, leaving the vast majority without options. This gaping disparity highlights a system that prioritizes profit over compassion, where housing has become a commodity catering to the elite rather than a basic necessity for all. This housing crisis has far-reaching consequences. Families who once managed stable, modest lives are now on the verge of homelessness, unable to keep up with rising costs. Many find themselves forced into overcrowded shelters, or worse, out onto the streets. The stark reality is that homelessness isn't just a personal failure, it's a structural issue, and Las Vegas stands as a glaring example of how policy and profit-driven motives have left society's most vulnerable behind. Beneath the shiny veneer of Las Vegas' multi-billion-dollar economy, there exists a community struggling for survival. Homeless encampments and makeshift shelters are cropping up in every corner of the city. In a region built on dreams and aspirations, these individuals have been relegated to the shadows, ignored by policymakers and developers alike. Advocacy groups argue that the absence of rent control policies and the lack of incentives to build affordable housing have fueled this crisis, turning one of the most iconic cities in the world into a symbol of unchecked inequality. For thousands in Las Vegas, housing is no longer an attainable dream. It's a heartbreaking impossibility. Addiction weaves through the heart of Las Vegas' homeless crisis, playing a dual role as both a cause and consequence of life on the streets. In 2025, Zrania, over 60% of the city's homeless population, struggles with addiction to drugs or alcohol, a devastating statistic that underscores the complexities of this issue. Many individuals turn to substances as a means of coping with the overwhelming stress, trauma, and isolation of homelessness. For others, addiction becomes the unfortunate catalyst that leads to losing their jobs, homes, and support networks. But escaping this vicious cycle is far from easy. Rehab facilities in Las Vegas remain critically underfunded and inaccessible to those who need them the most. With limited beds available and costs that are out of reach for the uninsured, many are left without the resources to seek recovery. For some, waiting lists for rehab programs stretch into months, leaving them vulnerable to further health deterioration or encounters with the criminal justice system. It's a dire situation that highlights how systemic neglect has compounded the struggles of addiction, trapping individuals in a loop that few manage to escape. Yet, it's important to remember that behind every statistic is a human being with a story. People like James, a 38-year-old former truck driver who turned to alcohol after losing his job in the pandemic. Or Maria, a young woman battling opioid dependency after a medical injury, now living on the streets with no clear path to recovery. These are not just numbers. They are lives caught in the cracks of a system failing to provide the support they desperately need. Nearly half of the homeless individuals in Las Vegas are battling untreated mental health conditions such as depression, PTSD, and schizophrenia, which severely impact their ability to regain stability. Over the past 2 years, state funding for mental health programs has decreased by 15%, leaving shelters and nonprofits overwhelmed and unable to provide adequate support. Without access to therapy or medications, many are left to navigate these challenges on their own, compounding the difficulties of homelessness. This lack of resources not only traps individuals in a cycle of despair, but also highlights the urgent need for systemic change to address the root causes of this crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic not only disrupted lives in the short term, but also left a lingering shadow over housing stability in Las Vegas. When pandemic-era rental assistance programs ended, the city experienced a sharp rise in evictions, with rates climbing to 28%, one of the highest in the nation. For thousands of families who relied on these temporary measures, the end of this support spelled disaster. As landlords enforced evictions and housing prices continued to climb, countless individuals found themselves out of options. By 2025, the aftermath of the pandemic had driven thousands onto the streets, exposing the fragility of a system unprepared to handle such widespread need. For many, recovery remains a distant dream, as the gap between affordable housing and those who need it continues to grow. Anti-camping laws in Las Vegas penalize homeless individuals for sleeping in public spaces, often fining or arresting those with nowhere else to go. Instead of addressing root causes, these measures push vulnerable people into unsafe hidden places like flood tunnels, worsening their plight. Imagine being fined simply for lying down in a park with no home to return to. It's a harsh reality. Many face daily nonprofit organizations like Help of Southern Nevada are beacons of hope amidst the homelessness crisis in Las Vegas. Despite operating with limited resources, they have helped hundreds of individuals rebuild their lives by providing essential services such as shelter, food, and job training. These programs not only address immediate needs, but also empower people to regain stability and independence. Take the story of Brian, a young man who lost his home after facing mounting medical bills from a work-related injury. With nowhere to turn, he sought help from a local nonprofit. Through their job training program and transitional housing support, Brian was able to find stable employment and rebuild his life. His journey from hardship to hope stands as a powerful example of how community-driven efforts can transform lives. Stories like Brian's remind us that with the right support, a brighter future is always possible. Inadequate policies have played a significant role in escalating the homelessness crisis in Las Vegas. The absence of rent control has allowed housing prices to soar unchecked, leaving low-income residents unable to keep up with rising costs. Simultaneously, the lack of incentives for developers to prioritize affordable housing has resulted in a city filled with luxury condos and high-end apartments, while those in need of basic shelter are left without options. These policy gaps have created a perfect storm, where the vulnerable are pushed further into despair, and the safety net meant to catch them is full of holes. But this crisis isn't just about homelessness. It's about the values we choose to uphold as a society. It's about deciding whether we prioritize profit over people, luxury over compassion, and short-term gains over long-term solutions. Addressing homelessness requires more than temporary fixes. It demands a systemic change that places humanity at its center. The question Las Vegas faces now is not just how to solve homelessness, but whether it is willing to invest in creating a city that supports all its residents, not just the privileged few. From the relentless housing crisis to the struggles of addiction and the neglect of mental health support. Homelessness in Las Vegas is more than just a local issue. It's a reflection of deeper societal challenges that demand immediate attention. This is not just about numbers or policies. It's about real people, real stories, and real lives impacted every day. But what do you think? How can this crisis be solved? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspectives. And if this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Globe Path for more stories that matter, because together we can uncover the truth and inspire change.